The following podcast is a part of RadioMisfits.com. The Mr. Nailsin Show is brought to you by me, Night Knight. Head over to IndiePlanet.com to get your copy of the Night Knight comic book so that you can actually see me in action in my one-man war on Drive. Shut up, Boo! God damn it! I do the announcements. Oh, God. No one gives a crap about Boo.
I'm part of the team. Not telling about me. False advertising. God,
Stupid idiot.
I help Night Knight fight crime, and we blow stuff up and do a lot of damage. and of course, people get mad at us when we do. But
it's a war on crime, and in every war there's collateral damage.
I mean, well, I guess it isn't one-man war because
Exactly.
Two-man war on crime.
Anyway, we're running out of time. Don't miss this opportunity to get your hands on the adventures of Night Knight.
And Boobo.
The Night Knight comic book available at IndiePlanet.com.
The following program features a discussion between myself and Erik Nagel, better known as Erock of O&A fame. Yes, we had a long discussion about our mutual appreciation and indeed love for Doctor Who. Yes, and of course our mourning of its passing and all of that sort of stuff. However, it went on for nearly 2 hours, and well, I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to get 2 shows out of 1. So I've split it in 2. You'll get part 1 in this episode, and then part 2 at a later date, probably this Saturday. So, do enjoy! And now, it's time for the Mr. Nailsin Show! Welcome once again to another episode of the Mr. Nailsin Show, episode 529, I guess. I'll fix it in post. For this episode, I have a special guest, Erik Nagel, a.k.a. Erock, from O&A fame, and then Compound Media, and so on and so forth. And one of the aspects of Erik was his love of Doctor Who. And I have thought about doing this for quite some time to have guests talking about Doctor Who. Finally got around to it long after the character has died. The show.
Which time?
Yeah. Can he regenerate? Well, I don't know. But anyway, so I guess we will perform a wake over the sad passing of this once great show. So welcome to the show, Erik. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. So for me, Doctor Who began in my misbegotten youth in the 80s with Tom Baker, who, of course, my first Doctor, so he remains the quintessential Doctor for me. And then the show was canceled. Well, not officially, but it was. And then was in the wilderness for a long time. And then, of course, the new era in 2005 came along. And that was a new era. And so when did Doctor Who begin for you?
It actually began for me with the Fox movie in 1996.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So that's where I saw that promoted. And I always have heard of Doctor Who, but I never saw it. And so I watched it. It was either like I think it was a Friday night that they aired that movie.
Something like that, yeah.
And I watched the movie. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I should check out what the other stuff was. And again, being, mid-90s, it's not as easily accessible unless PBS is running them, right. Some sort of rerun. But you can't just get tapes, at that time. You can't go to Blockbuster or if you find a really eclectic flea market where somebody's got cassette tapes from the runs that you could buy. So it was always very here or there until the 2005 continuation
Right.
of the series, and that's where it kind of grew on me. And I know most people's in the modern era, their doctor is David Tennant, and I do like that era, but mine was really Matt Smith. I think his run was the best out of all of them. I understand David Tennant was the most popular, but I think Matt Smith's run was the best. So yeah, 1996 was when I figured out what any of this was, thanks to the Fox TV movie.
So it paid off in a little bit. The idea was that would be the beginning of a new series, which it was a letdown at the time that it didn't work. It was very popular in Britain, of course, but in the United States ratings, it bombed. And but there's good and bad in it. I was afraid of it being too Americanized. Had that version of it continue. Love Paul McGann. I think he could have. And since then, I've seen, I've heard his audios, and especially that little special he did of the Night of the Doctor for the 50th. I was just like, good God, do a whole series of this guy.
Yeah, I would love to see. Like, they keep talking about spinoffs, and they just announced new spinoffs, which who gives a shit about these new spinoffs at San Diego Comic-Con. But if you want to do, I guess it's sort of a prequel, but not. It's because it's all weebly wobbly, timey wimey with that whole thing, as they like to say. If you did a separate series with the Eighth Doctor going, I think people would watch that and not affect the current Doctor. And then maybe once in a while they cross paths, like all the Doctors tend to do, and people would get excited for that. I really think an Eighth Doctor series would be good, where the finale leads to Night of the Doctor, like however long that run goes. Yeah, because it could only go maybe a couple seasons. At the very end is what leads him to that spaceship, to the Night of the Doctor, and then the 50th anniversary. We all know how that went, so that's the ending to the series. It's already the ending's already written for them. Just do the beginning.
They could take. There's plenty of material already written about that Doctor, and they could utilize and adapt a lot of those different forms, novels, comics, and of course the audios and stuff like that. Could have been done. At the time, I always thought what eventually happened with the Time War. I thought they could have done at least maybe a series of specials with him being in that era. Right. And all that sort of thing. A Time War sounds like it would be a very expensive thing to really do it right. So,
now you don't have to, because of the 50th. You can just lead off to where that is about to start, and they explain the Time War stuff, so you don't need to actually see it happening in episodic length. You already got the movie that just caught you up to speed about that little patch of unknown between the 8th and the 9th Doctor. Yeah. And so that's already done for you, too. It's so easy to just do the 8th Doctor and him traveling around being, the 8th Doctor is interesting. He's kind of dandyish, if you will, a little fancy, goes off, whatever. Doesn't give a shit, but you can't cross him either. If you said the wrong thing, he's very spiteful. He's very vengeful. He doesn't forget things. He's petty. Which is fantastic to have, which is sort of what Tennant's thing was, where he was very spiteful and petty over things. But it could be even more exaggerated for the 8th Doctor. It would be a lot of fun. I just think they're missing their opportunity for what they're doing now to stop. Enough with the audio stories. I know people like them. I don't.
Really... It's not good enough. You really and to do the guy some justice. I mean, I think he's proven that yes, he was capable. He wasn't just they always call him the pretty one. But it wasn't just that, I mean, he was very capable, and just that small little snippet is like, damn, I would like to see a whole show of this version of him, and but they're determined not to let people have nice things, and there's so many opportunities they go out of their way.
Well, we can only hope for after the next season's done, and if the rumors are true that Disney's pulling out from their investments on them, that the thing crashes and burns, and maybe, unfortunately, it does need to go away for a little while, or do another modern reboot, reimagining with the next Doctor, a whole new series. Maybe BBC lets the series go. They license it out and say what you want about Disney with Star Wars and Marvel and all that stuff. It'll be better than what the BBC's putting out. So let somebody else take control of that for a while and make it darker, grittier, and I don't know, just more insane. Like the mean, nasty, vengeful, as they say, hurting now, doctors were the best. They had the best stories. They were assholes at certain times. They were sweethearts in other times. They could go back and forth. It's like that old, trope for a movie where you see the guy smiling and then it goes like that, and then you see the real what's going on. Be fantastic to have evil doctors, anti-hero doctors, not evil doctors, going about and doing all this stuff instead of the nonsense, the mental health Dr. Fabulous that's going on right now.
My God.
All right. Can you tell I'm not a fan of the current works?
That's the whole thing. It's another example in which will, I guess, forever be known as the woke era. Of where
it's worse than when the female doctor was there.
Oh yes,
and she wasn't even the problem.
No, not really.
Thing. She wasn't. She never had a chance to grow.
Right. Never gave her a chance
to expand her emotional range. Like she could have started off like what they British call kind of a tart, a little bit at the beginning, and then let her give her a season or so to start getting her hands kind of dirty, and then see if what she turns into. Is she going to be a real asshole? Is she going to be over the top? Like any of that stuff would have been fine in the 3 seasons that she was in. I think 3 seasons. Yeah. They just wrote garbage all around her, and she didn't really have a chance to develop. She just had to stand there and go, okay, say a line, and then we'll do all the other stuff around you.
Yeah, with her, what I would have approached that with is to look how Matt Smith did his role, where he's a very ancient man in a young man's body, and Matt Smith did that. I wasn't sure about him because I thought he was too young and all that sort of stuff, but he won me over. It
worked. Yeah, the juxtaposition, the Benjamin Button kind of effect, where the younger they were getting, the older they really are, and they became the Simpsons meme of old man yells at cloud, and he would go around, he'd have fun, he'd sit there sometimes just reading like advanced quantum physics, like somebody was reading the Sunday paper, and he'd have his glasses and he licks his finger all, very pompous. And then other people's going on, he'd be like, ugh, like, get away from me. I don't want to be bothered kind of thing. And then he would go on his soapbox and he would do grandiose speeches and monologues for all that stuff. The current doctor tries to do some monologues and you're like, shut up. Shut up. Stop it. No one cares what you're saying. You're making no impact on anything. But yeah, that during his run, it was people like were a lot like you. Like he's much younger than Tennant, and now is this going the wrong way? Yeah, Are they catering to America? Are they catering to females? Oh no. Well, they were.
Yeah, they were. But I mean,
they kept a lot of the old elements of what made the Doctor in the new guy.
Yeah,
and it worked.
Right.
And then you had Capaldi going back the other way, the old guy with the elements, and it still worked. So it's like as long as you kept the basis of the character, he can develop and grow and evolve. Yeah, but you have the core of what the Doctor is and what he can be. He's a liar. He's an asshole. He's judge, jury, and executioner in a lot of things.
Right.
And he has people that keep him all, on par with what's going on because he can get off balance real quick. Those are the fun episodes too, when he starts just destroying things and threatening civilizations. And you're like, that's not what you are, Doctor. I know, but I like doing this. And they're like, you can't do that.
Look, they got it coming.
Yeah, they got it coming. They're cat nurses and they're cloning people for parts and stuff like that. They deserve to die. And then he wipes them all out. And then the companion is always like, oh my God, I can't believe he might not be the guy that I know. And then the next thing they know, they're jet hopping into planet Barcelona and going to the beach and having fun. It's like, you really cared that he wiped out that civilization.
Yeah, it's like, well, he takes me to nice places.
Yeah, he buys me things. Do you know what a jerk this guy is politically? or like how he treats people who work for him? Yeah, but look, we were on the French Riviera. He got a yacht and... I know. I talk to him sometimes. That's the perfect relationship for
That's what it is, yeah.
The Doctor is 3 things. He's either the old man who's the father figure to whoever the companions are. He's the whatever age, but he's more like a brother relationship or a best friend relationship to whoever the companions are. or he's the love interest of the companion, but he's not interested in them most times.
More times than not.
Like that. So he's one of those three to whoever the companions are going to be.
Yeah.
And that's what he should be. He shouldn't be a mouthpiece for the message now. He shouldn't be the guy that's going around and cheering on mental health, which is... I know it's a serious problem for people, but there's so many other people who cosplay as mental health and abuse it.
Yeah.
And that's what this show seems like. It's like, well, they split the doctors. Well, he had so much trauma all his life, and he never dealt with it. Who fucking cares if he never dealt with it? He's amazing.
He's had time.
Yeah. 1,000 years he's had to deal with this shit. Maybe the Time War's what? So maybe 300 years of that 1,000 he had a problem? Get over it. Let him do all of these things. He's finding ways. Yes, he's lashing out. It's probably killing him. But from an entertainment point of view, you don't want to help the people. You want to see it all explode or implode or melt down or whatever. And then maybe if it gets wrapped up in a nice package at the end, fine, I can deal with that. But if he's going to melt down and then there's some sort of self-sacrifice, so be it. I'm not here to hold your hand and get out the doctor's feelings, which is what was happening in that special when they split the two.
Oh, God.
I'm turning into Stuttering John. I'm spitting with rage here.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Where they split him off, and he's like, well, he had such problems and such trauma. He couldn't deal with it. So the new doctor is going to, continue his life and without that baggage and be happy. All he fucking does is cry.
Exactly.
He cries every time. It's like, that's not a healthy individual. That's someone who seems to be worse than the guy who's keeping it to himself. At least he's keeping his mouth shut. He's trying to purposely not cause problems or hurt people. And he's doing what he needs to get done, like an old grunt from the military, like a Marine or somebody who's seen traumatic experiences and trauma from whatever war or situation they were through. They come home. Yeah, they need help dealing with that stuff, but they also know not to burden everybody else with it.
Right.
Now it's like, let me tell you on TikTok, I'll sit here and I'll record and I'll start 3, 2. All right, the red light's on. You don't know what my day was like today. It's like, I kind of do. You're taping it right now to show the world. That's what this doctor's doing. He cries over everything.
That's all he does. And when I think about it, those episodes, why'd I bother? But he doesn't do anything. He's not the hero.
He dances. He winks.
Okay,
he calls
dances.
everybody cheeky nicknames. Honey, baby. I'll send it to you. I'm finishing up a clip that we did on an episode of my show a few weeks back, where I was talking about how I put a post up on Twitter after the I guess the season finale for this season.
Yeah.
And what I wrote was about the doctor, the actor portraying the doctor, and Russell T. Davies. I said the show is written terribly. The person who is playing the doctor is the wrong actor for the doctor. He's not. It's not clicking. It's not there.
Right.
And I put it up there, and then I put a little clip of the finale because when he goes to really cry, his jaw unhinges and his face distorts. So when he goes to cry, it's like over here, and then it goes to that, and like, what is with this guy's face? Why is he all contorted when he's trying to cry? Right. So I put it up there. The response I got was from all these people that you're homophobic, you're racist, you're a bigot. This show was never for you. Why do you think it's for you? Why this show is never going to be about you? I don't want it to be about me. I don't want it to be about typical British culture where it's stuffy white men in pretending or trying to be upwardly mobile, proper trim and tails and tea time and upper class society trying to say do the right thing. I don't want that. That's stuffy and boring. And there's other British properties that portray it very well. I want this guy to be, I know it's an alien. I'm not dumb, but I just want him to be a little bit more eccentric, more exaggerated in the right direction, and actually show some sign that the old doctor is still in him. And they're not doing that. It's an empty vessel. They put the guy on there. He cries. He dances. He wears, when episode, he's wearing a wife beater and a kilt and combat boots, and he's dancing in a nightclub.
Yeah, what the hell? What was the message there?
That he's living his
kilt.
best life. He's having a great time. This is what this is what life should be. This is where, to quote Russell Davies, society and the world has moved on. This is what life is now. It's like, no, it's not. It's what you complain about other people being in their bubbles, about being bigoted, homophobic, whatever, is equivalent to the bubble that him and his group are in, where they think it's all like this. But it's like, no, leave that area of England. Go anywhere else in the world. Leave this parts of the United States. Go anywhere else in the world.
Beyond the block you live on.
They don't, most of the places don't hate gay people anymore. They don't care. They just don't want to hear about it. They don't care if you are. Yeah. There's still a lot of places that will openly beat you or convict you for something, for anything gay or worse. Yeah. Right? So I know they're trying to combat that. I understand that. You can work those into stories. They've had the history of doing that with the Captain Jack.
Oh yeah,
you know, he was gay. No one complained about him, his storylines, his stuff, because he's a gay character.
He became a popular character and got his own spinoff. You know,
no one didn't like him. No one had a problem with his story stuff. What happened to this now? When like, well, Doctor Who's always been rather woke and had these things. They've had these ideals, they've had these ways of telling stories, and they've had these concepts in there. Yes, you're right. But they didn't shove it into your face and go, gay, like that right there. It's like, you got to deal with all this now. It's like, no, you don't. It's around here. If the doctor met somebody, he's like, oh, okay, cool. And then they move on with the story, and they get on with the story. That doesn't become the focus of what these stories are. Now it is. I know we've really derailed from where you were going with all
but
this.
it's the situation of what it is and what's derailed the show.
So anyway, I put that post out there. People went crazy. It blew up. Like in the next few days, it blew up. And I got everybody that I've started to notice in a lot of the posts, they had 1, 2, or all 3 of the same things in their bios or in their handles on Twitter. They all proudly announced that they're autistic or have some sort of autism or whatever offshoot of autism is, because I saw different names and I had to look them up, and then it all circles back into mental health and autism. So they all have that. They all have some sort of gender or sexuality flag in their bio that represents whatever division they're in. Mm-hmm. And then they all have watermelons in their stuff, which is they're all for Free Palestine.
Oh,
and I sit there and I go,
right,
and because it took me a while too. I'm like, what's with the watermelon? So I go and look it up, and it's because it's the same flag color, the colors of their flag. So they put watermelons and everything. And I go, like we all do. It's like, you would get killed for half this stuff that you're publicly displaying if you lived there, right? We're not talking about the Hamas thing. That's a totally different thing. We're just talking culture-wise overall. The Middle East is rampant with homosexuality, but they don't allow it. It is very illegal in there. But majority of them are. We know this. Yeah. They all attack you, and then you start to wonder, it's like, there has to be a bot farm, or there has to be a group. Maybe it's the Russians. I don't know. They're like, hey, what would piss off Americans and British the most? Trans, Free Palestine, put all that stuff in there and just shit on Doctor Who and just shit on all these, because there was too many of them. They weren't all saying the same thing, but they were in the roundabout area of what they were saying. Yeah. But they all had those elements. And I was sitting there, I'm like, what happened to Doctor Who fans? And then I had to start divvying out. I'm like, all right, these are real, seem like they're real Doctor Who fans. These seem like they're the newer Doctor Who fans. This section that has all 3 of them, I don't know what this is, but I know they're not Doctor Who fans. They're infiltrating something. Right. So I learned a lesson. Doesn't mean I'm not going to shit post Doctor Who. I still do. But just seeing all that and go, the fan base went fucking nuts. They've somehow, we knew wrestling fans were insane. Then over time, Star Wars fans were just under wrestling fans. Doctor Who fans are up there now. Yeah. Like they're up. If they're not number 2, they're number 3. And you go, how did this happen for a show the world still doesn't really fully know? How did it become this big? And they're still going in these directions, and they're still going to do all of this stuff. And if you saw any of the panel stuff from San Diego, they're showing those spin-offs.
I've heard of it, and I've heard about they want to do a Star Trek crossover, which is another one that's been completely slaughtered.
Well, from what I understand, they used to do. They had like some comic crossover.
They
with
did
Star
comic
Trek
books, yeah,
back in the day or something. So I mean,
I think this will be a video game where they have the Doctor and the Star Trek characters grow. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Either. Star Trek is dead.
But even that, I don't care about that crossover. I'm not going out there. They shouldn't have this crossover. Go ahead. It's not for me. I don't care. Somebody's got to like it. Just don't tell me. I was like, yeah, I really am not interested in that. Well, you're a homophobe. Yeah. You're this and you're that. You don't like it. What? I just said I don't like this. It looks like shit. So many other games look like shit. I don't care about Pokemon either, but I know it's the biggest game in the world. Yeah. I'm not playing that. Doesn't mean I'm anything other than I'm not interested in that particular thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it is both with now Shooty Gatwa and
I call him Shooty McGavin.
Shooty McGavin.
Because I didn't know his last name for so long, and I just knew his name was Shooty. And now apparently that was wrong, because then he had to correct, like in the middle of the season, he was telling people that his parents told him he's been saying his name wrong all these years, that it's N-Shooty. And I said, no, what? I'm not pronouncing that too. He's Shooty McGavin. I'm leaving it that. But, by the way, any of these things that you think I'm a crackpot, that's fine. But you can Google and read the articles where this was legit stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
I wish I was making half this shit up. It's all real and it's all disturbing.
But the approach to it is oddly insulting to the very issues that they want to preach. With him, they made a complete joke out of it all. All he does is dance. He's the most stereotypical gay guy. Flaming and all this sort of stuff, and it's just over the top with it. And very little sci-fi concepts. Very little. The show doesn't care about its plot.
He doesn't have a set uniform. Like there's certain things about Doctor Who
for branding. You gotta have an outfit,
right? There was no set uniform. The Doctor changes uniform sometimes based on whatever time period he's in, or the situation or stuff. We like the red the red spacesuit, orange spacesuit that he wears.
Yeah.
Several doctors have worn that spacesuit when he had to go outside of the TARDIS to do something. So that was always a fixture. They all had their outfit. David Tennant had the duster and the blue suit with the red tie, or the brown suit with the blue tie. He had a sneak. It was always, you knew what doctor that was. Matt Smith. First season had the tweed jacket. Then, like the third season, he had the purple crushed velvet.
He was getting closer to an Edwardian look at that point.
Yeah, and it looked great, but it made sense for that doctor. Every doctor had their look. This guy was supposed to have, when they announced it, he was supposed to have like a brown leather jacket and orange pants and a blue thing. And look, that works more on a black person. Those more vibrant colors works. It looks good on them as compared to throwing it onto a white guy. But that thing didn't really. We were like, okay, let's see how. They didn't give you a chance to even get used to it, because he's never wearing it.
No,
he's wearing a different thing each time.
I think he wore it briefly in the Bubble episode. I think that was it.
Yeah, and then they played Bridgerton for a while.
Yeah.
They did a Bridgerton episode where he was all pumped up, and if he could have put a pompadour on, he would have. But he was crying, and he's all about the dancing and the socialite life, God. And all. It's like,
oh, jeez, it was bad.
But
just for the simple idea again of branding, and they pretty much given up because none of that stuff sells anymore.
Well, they didn't even give him a chance. Like they had. Yeah. I'll give Jodie Whittaker some credit that when they launched her, they already had her outfit out for cosplay in Hot Topic. They had her sonic screwdriver and stuff. They had all of it out there like they do with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But through the rest of her tenure there, they stopped making merchandise. Like there wasn't stuff there. I guess it wasn't selling. I know her outfit still sells very well, but everything else wasn't. This Doctor Round, you go into a Hot Topic or a Spencer or something like that, there were a couple of things you would always see. One would be like Nightmare Before Christmas. The other is Harry Potter. That still sells very well.
Yeah.
Doctor Who was always near the front too.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty, those kind of things. There's no Doctor Who. There hasn't been Doctor Who stuff in years.
Yeah.
They just finally now, after the first season and 3 60th anniversary episodes, they just revealed, it's like, oh, you can get his sonic, shoehorn or whatever that stupid thing looks like now.
I don't know.
Right? It looks like a TV remote. It looks it looks terrible. And they're like, you could just get it now. It's an exclusive at San Diego Comic-Con. It shouldn't be an exclusive. Like, if it was a variant, sure. If they made it a different color or something, I get it.
Yeah.
But that should have been out at the beginning of all this for the masses, for people to buy, because people like having that stuff when the new seasons come around and they want to dress up and do all those things, go to convention stuff. They do, and they made a ton of money. Their merchandise has been shit forever. And I used to have this fight with people online. It's the only thing I fight about, because who cares about sports and politics? I'm going to scream about why Doctor Who's terrible. I would tell people, like, oh yeah, what's your source? I'm like, this has been a failure. The last season, when they did the Flux, they did the thing where for some reason the Master showed up again, and they never explained. It's like, wait, you killed her off in the last Doctor, and now he's back in this thing. They don't explain it, and he killed all the Time Lords, and nothing was explained.
Oh God!
And then they retconned where the Doctor came from, and Hartnell's not the first Doctor, and all this other bullshit. And I would say the ratings are down. The merchandising sales are non-existent, and that's why this is failing. Where you quote, what source is that? I go, here you go. And I give them stuff like that you would get from like SEC reports, Security Exchange things, where certain companies have to disclose their earnings and what have you. And there was one for, I forget the company that was making Doctor Who stuff. And I showed them and go, here you go. Well, where's the breakdown? I said, I just gave you the link. Do your own homework. I'm not giving you
feed it for you.
Yeah, I'm not doing a PowerPoint presentation to show you all this. I'm telling you, it's right there. Go and look for yourself. They didn't. Hot Topic sales were down, and they even said in a portion because of certain franchises not performing as well as they used to. One, Doctor Who. I said, so if the merchandising's down and they're not making money, and the ratings are down and they're not getting any people, this isn't going to last long.
Right. They
said Russell T Davies is coming back. Everyone was like, oh, thank God, this will be great. And then they announced who the Doctor was going to be, and you're like, what? And then the way he decided, it's like, so you're going to you're making it worse than the previous guy did?
I know. He said, here, hold my beer.
You're the guy everyone was championing for to have you come back and do all of this stuff?
Yeah.
So all that went down, and then now they're trying to tell you when it's like, well, the ratings are down. One of the excuses was, the reason why this episode didn't do so well is because it was a really nice day out in England. It was a beautiful day.
I saw that.
And I go, that has to be made up. And I look up, and there it is. I don't know if it was Radio Times or some other publication that they feel is credible, but there it was. And they said, well, it was a really nice day, so most people were out on that Saturday, so that's why they didn't watch it at first. And you go, that's the excuse you're making up for all of this stuff? Well, the streaming numbers on the iPlayer, which is the British streaming digital stuff that you can only get in the UK, the iPlayer numbers are fantastic. Okay, what are the iPlayer numbers? Oh, we don't give those out. Okay. Well, and it's doing fantastic on Disney Plus too. Well, that's convenient because Disney Plus doesn't give their numbers out because they don't need to.
Yeah.
So you have no proof that the show's doing well other than, believe us, the show's doing well. Well, there's a hashtag that Nerdrotic started and went worldwide that says RIP Doctor Who.
Yes.
And that caught on outside of their bubble of people. Yeah. And it went over to the UK, where is the home base for it. And a lot of people there were like, fuck this shit. And we're not giving a fuck about this stuff. And then the rating numbers came out, and it showed you, the first 60th anniversary episode with David Tennant was like a 6, 6 whatever.
Yeah.
It was great. By the end, like, he was under 2 for the end of this series. It's like, that is a significant drop. This is doing poorly. Well, the second season's up. Maybe that's why they rushed shooting 2 seasons back to back.
Yeah.
Because they knew that this might be a problem. We better get it done now with Disney's money before they decide to pull it out.
We got to go after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the David Tennant thing, even at its highest, was a poor performance for him to come back, because there was significant hype and hopes that, RTD had the best run of New Doctor Who, and so maybe he'll fix what Chibnall did and all that sort of stuff. First of all, he announced that, no, I'm not going to retcon the Timeless Child, which was, I said, well, all right, that's a bad that you have to. It's Last Jedi level destruction to the lore. And but then I thought, well, maybe at best you will get some basic Doctor Who adventures, and that'll be it won't be a monster like it was, but it'll be an okay show. Then right before the 60th anniversary specials began, he did that little special about Davros. And went on and that, and I said,
Davros.
Okay, that tells you everything you need to know about where his head is at and what this show will be about.
It also shows how stupid he is and how surface level his Doctor Who knowledge is, because when you look at Davros, he's evil, and he's, his outfit looks very SS. Very that kind of thing.
Yeah, Daleks based on the Nazis and everything.
Well, Go back to 1962, find the production notes from the writer's room and all that stuff. The Daleks, the biggest, most well-known monster in the Doctor Who universe, was based on the Nazis 100%. Their mentality, their way of living is to, if you don't look like us, exterminate them. We will wipe out everybody that doesn't look exactly like us. No one had a problem with that. In fact, make them that way, because then they're the big bad. There's nothing worse than them. The bar's up here with the Daleks. Anything from here to here is interesting. Let's find out what you develop. We know the end game is up here.
Yeah.
Then you change that, not because the Nazi stuff. I just remembered the real reason. Because he was in a wheelchair.
Yes.
And they felt that was ableist. Yes. Who gives a fuck? You have a decrepit, half Nazi, half Darth Vader creature. He's robotic and trying to live on his own.
Which
Very
he did
Nazi.
to himself. So
Right. He's in a wheelchair. You should be like, good. He's fucking crippled. Good on him. And they're like, well, that's ableist, and that excludes part of our audience and stuff. No, it doesn't. We're not shitting on the guy because he's in a wheelchair. That's just added fun, because you can knock him over and he can try to take over the universe, but if you tip his wheelchair, he can't do anything. He's like a turtle on his back, and you're laughing like, all this time the Doctor just needed to knock his chair over and we would have solved the universe's problem. But no one's giving the guy shit because he's in a wheel. Imagine the Doctor, all his episodes, like, how's that wheelchair going? If that's all, he just kept making wheelchair jokes,
he's like,
then I would get it.
How do you know he's bad? He's in a wheelchair.
So was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Was he evil too? No, he wasn't.
God, he just pulls it out of his ass.
Stephen Hawking. Was he a terrorist? No, he wasn't.
You know that this is this major thing that must be dealt with, of depicting people in wheelchairs as villains. And it's like, that's bullshit. No one did.
So now he's upright. He's in a worse SS outfit. It's black slick with that. When they make black metal pieces, metals, things that are just a weird off tint from the black that they're wearing, so that it stands out. It's almost like a charcoal gray black metal, and this is black here. So he's standing there. He's like this. It's like, he's very prim, proper. He's very straight. All he's missing is throwing his hand up in the air, and you got the Nazi. It's like, okay, we get it. It's the Nazi. Oh, that's him. Oh, well, we're not doing the wheelchair thing anymore. That's the problem with the character? That's the problem?
Yeah.
But no, you throw a 13-year-old midget into a Segway that somehow had video game controllers and was shooting missiles out the center of a Segway inside a building. And he's the good guy.
Yes.
Okay. You can only be a good guy that's crippled. You can't be a bad guy that's crippled. Got it. Okay.
But that was like, well, I got to give it to him. He did warn us what the show would be about with that little thing. And then his explanation, because a lot of people jumped on and said, I guess that's like a young Davros before he had whatever accident.
That would be fantastic if that was the swerve.
If that was the thing. See, it's like the fan theories now outperform whatever they deliver. They're always so much better. But no, he couldn't allow that. He had to go, no. This is 2024, and we don't have villains in wheelchairs anymore. No, we don't. And
then you had to make all the hype about the trans actor that was coming in.
Yes.
And they barely did anything in the series. So there was no real point to them other than to to shit talk the doctor when he's like, "Oh, I'll get him home. Why do you just assume his pronouns are him?" Oh, God. And the doctor looked at him, them, whatever.
Yeah.
Remember you used to get in trouble for calling people like that in It? And they said that was rude and inappropriate and you don't call them it. And now they want to be called that?
Yeah,
They, them, some want to be it, some want to be other things you can't pronounce. It's like, what happened? You don't want to label people. Now everyone has to live by their labels. Like it just went the other way. So they had the trans actor in there, did nothing. And then during the big fight scene in the finale, is sitting there with an iPad like they're trying to get Netflix to load.
Oh, my God.
They just sit there, do this here. All explosions. Mystic sand is turning people into vapor because they're dying. And
yeah, I know.
The way she was pivoting was pivoting with the iPad and going like this, like that, reminded me of, you remember the Chappelle Show?
Yes, yeah.
Remember the guy that wore the winter cap, the black dude, and he would just do this in every other scene? He was just doing that weird dance stuff. That's exactly what that actor was doing in that fight scene.
Well, another problem is them, I don't believe, can act. I think
nope.
This is yet another example of exploiting one's skin and genitals.
And they say that in the episode.
Confusion thereof.
Because they were late to go to the kids' theater performance at her high school.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, don't tell her that. She's a terrible actress." And you're like, they're saying it in the episode. They're telling you that this person's terrible.
Yeah.
And then Russell's like, "Oh, no, she'll be back. She'll be intricate to the story." And then she's not. She's just standing in the background. Everyone seems to work at Unit for some reason. It's a big character.
That thing of just, if you knew the doctor, you can get a job there. It's supposed to be this government secret agency and all this stuff. But, well, you're trans and your mom was a friend of the doctor, so come on in, the whole universe was destroyed.
Just so ridiculous, all of it. It really is aggravating.
That's another example of this happens in the current era, of where not only does it not respect the lore and foundations of whatever franchise they've acquired, it doesn't even respect itself. None of it works at all. It's like, okay, you're going to do the gay doctor, which it flies in the face of everything it's done. You can look at the history of the doctor, even when there really wasn't any romantic stories, but his favorite choice of companion was female.
Right.
The male companions didn't really matter. The only one I could think of who might have had some significance was Jamie with the second doctor. Mm-hmm. The rest of them, it's all girls.
And what was the one, Avron or something? Someone with a name where he died and they're like,
Adric. Yes, he
died.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
His death made him significant. Before that, the doctor really didn't even like him.
No, he was like a space Indian, right? Wasn't he dressed in like what would be like Native American garb sometimes?
Well, it was kind of like a space age version of it. They were a part of a tribe in another pocket universe that he got stuck in and picked him up. His brother had died, so he went with the doctor and all that.
And then he died.
Yeah,
and then it's like, all right, well, it's like nobody dies at Disney. Well, hose it down.
Yeah, I know.
Turn it back on. We're good to go.
So, but that's the thing. They don't really. And with Jodie, when they did that, I thought that at least, like with Matt Smith being the old man in the young man's body, this is a man in a woman's body.
Which had potential for great
to take advantage of that. This is the first time it's happened to the doctor. So you have I wouldn't do it for the entire run, of course, but at least for the first or second
parts
episode.
Parts of the first season should have been like he goes to do something and then his tits got in the way. Something like that.
I've got boobs.
Or he's like, I gotta go. Like he's gonna go pee, and he realized he can't just stand outside behind the TARDIS anymore. He's like, he's got to go find a proper place to do it. Little things like that would have been hilarious to see. Like, that. All right, for these kind of things, write it as. Get one of the guy writers to write how they think being a female would be, and let's use that stuff to make it not actually what would happen, but it would make sense for the doctor trying to figure all of this stuff out. Force and that her companions were terrible too.
Yeah,
they were all like Grant was okay, but Grant, the old guy, they were trying to recapture Donna's grandfather.
Yeah, right.
The lovable old guy that everyone loved him. No one cared about Grant. His
son who had a problem with being able to ride a bike.
His grandson.
Oh, grandson. That's right. Yeah.
His grandson. So old white dude has this black grandkid. the guy's like in his early 20s or something, can't ride a bike, can't think normally. But they're not explaining, like, he has some kind of disease.
They did
that
nothing with it.
He can't have, his balance is terrible.
Yeah.
He's useless and clunky and ruined a lot of things. Then they brought the female cop in, which she could have been good for being the serious ass kicker or gunslinger or something like that. But all of a sudden it turned into, every time they cut to her, she's staring at the doctor like, I need to kiss her. Like all the time. Like, it's like you're forcing
and even
a
that was
lesbian
shoehorned
relationship.
in, really?
Yeah.
You know, it just...
And one thing is good, they didn't capitalize on it. A lot of people got upset. There were times where they were sitting together, what could have been a romantic setting, the doctor and...
But there was no development for it.
Yeah, I can remember
Yaz.
Yaz. And she wants to just jump the doctor, and the doctor's like, okay, well, let's get going. And it's like, all right, I know you like me, but I don't want to touch you, and we're going to keep going. I'm glad they did that, because it never came to fruition. Now they're making up for lost time, I guess. He's kissing people throughout space and time. He's got a lot of pipe to lay and not a lot of time to do it before he regenerates.
Well, what I would have done if he had to do it, I mean, my call would have been just don't even bother. But if you're going to do a female doctor, and with Jodie, I wasn't all that familiar with her, but from what I understand, she did a lot of dark roles. And I thought you could have done something like that.
She was on Broadchurch with David Tennant.
Yeah.
The British version before it became an American version. But she was on there for a few seasons. And she was on one of the more popular episodes of Black Mirror.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
The one where they could put... It was like, you know how you can sync your phone to like Google Chrome or Apple TV, and you can stream off your phone? It was that, but you have this thing in your head where they can go and tap into your brain and review the last few days, and they're like, hey, you were cheating on me. I saw that.
Coming soon to an app near you.
She was the wife in that episode that was cheating on the guy. Yeah.
So he said, I would have thought that they could have capitalized on that, in that it was a struggle for the doctor dealing with this new regeneration. Also, with the companions being so flat, and even though people had problems, people had problems with Bill because she kept announcing she was a lesbian over and over again. She didn't bother me in the long run.
Yeah, she didn't really bother me. She could have been interesting because she was educated and inquisitive.
Yeah,
like she wanted to seem to know more about the doctor lore, the story, the history. She wanted to know the universe, that kind of thing. Right. She didn't really get the excitement of like, oh, we're time traveling and we can go to different places. Everywhere she wanted to go, she wanted to know why. She seemed like she was a student, right? Yeah. And that's how she was portrayed before becoming the companion. She was a student of his while he was teaching at a college. The other stuff, they were working in. It's like, oh, she's gay, but then the doctor's like, and then moved on and didn't really focus on the fact, like, okay, I don't care, do what you want. But that turns a lot of people off. I think it's just any kind of the gay stuff and whatever.
Yeah,
some of it's okay. Some of it is just like there's ways of doing things, and you don't need to change something that existed for a certain amount of time and go, well, we're gonna repaint everything, and now it's going to be about this stuff. It's like, well, why not you? And I say this about when they do reboots of movies and stuff and put a female cast in there and stuff. Why not touch that franchise, and why not come up with something else and make it your own? So then when you go and look and you go, yeah, that franchise is successful, but that one is meant for women. It's meant for women, the way it was written and designed and all that stuff. No one's shitting on that thing. They're just like, oh, that's a woman's thing, but it's doing well. No one cares. So if you did the show that the doctor came from, I forget. It's like safe sex or free something sex or whatever. Sex ed. I don't know what.
I think it was.
It's a Netflix show where Shooty McGavin came from, and then they brought him over to Doctor. But no one's shitting on that show. It got rave reviews. It's doing very well, but they know the audience it was for that, and that's who it was for. They're not saying, hey, how do we take what's really popular? Okay, let's take over that, change it all, and put our stuff into it, and then put it out there. When everyone goes, fuck you, boo, this is terrible, I'm not going to see it. well, you're closed-minded, or you're a white guy that it's always white guys on the internet that cause everything to be review bombed, or why people didn't go see things. It's like, well, half the time you're telling straight guys, white guys, or just guys in general, don't come to this thing. This isn't for you. This is not for you. Stay out of it. Don't say anything.
Yeah, Shooty.
Okay, cool.
Said
we
that.
didn't do it. Then Ocean's 8 bombs at the box office.
Yeah.
And then what happens? The Mindy, whatever, from The Office comes out and said, white men were giving it bad reviews, and they didn't show up to watch the thing. Yeah, because you told them not to. Just like Russell Davies and Shooty said at the beginning of all of this, that things are changing. We're doing it deliberately to piss a lot of people off. This show is not for you anymore. If you don't like it, don't watch it. No one in any kind of entertainment should say, hey, we're starting something new. Don't watch it. It's not for you. You don't out the gate eliminate a good chunk of your audience saying, well, I don't give a fuck. This is not for you anymore. Don't watch it. Then they don't watch it. Well, there's a lot of bigoted white men or bigoted people, include females in that too, around the world that are not giving this a chance. And it shows that we have a lot of work to do as a society and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look back at that Vanity Fair ad, that article that you did, where you just told everybody to, essentially kick rocks and not look at this. It's not for you. And then you have the main lead of the show saying, if you have a problem with what you're going to see or what you're seeing, go outside, touch grass. This isn't for you anymore. Live a life. Okay, cool. What did everyone do? They went out and lived their life. They went out. Oh, yeah, that's right. The ratings were down because it was a nice day outside. So we went out and lived our lives, and we didn't watch that episode.
Hey, good idea, Shooty.
Yeah. And this is what makes shitting on Doctor Who fun. It's sad, and because I really did love this show. I still do up to a certain point, but it makes it fun to shit talk this thing and argue with people because they put all the facts out there before the argument even started.
Yeah.
So all of it's there. Oh yeah, where's your source? Okay, Radio Times, which you claim is a credible publication and journalistic source. Look at this article here, and they're telling you for a fact, fuck off, white man, this is not for you. Fuck off, straight guy, this is not for you. Okay, so what did the white guys, what did the straight guys, what did guys do? They fucked off.
Yes.
They went and watched something else.
Deal.
I'll go back to WWE. Hey, football's on, cricket's on, soccer is on. We're going to go do all of that stuff. Well, it's like, you guys didn't give it a chance. You told us to leave.
Yeah.
What are we arguing here? You said to leave, so we left, and we didn't come back for it, and now it's our fault because we didn't. Well, that's not what we meant. That you're arguing like a girl.
Yeah.
You say one thing and you mean another. We're not girls. Sorry. I know you want us to be, but we're not.
Yeah, it's insane because they come out of a show like whatever Shooty was on, the sex ed show and that sort of thing, and it might do well for its market and whatnot, but it's never going to achieve.
It did very well for Netflix. It was one of their top shows.
Right. So
and no one's knocking that.
But it's not going to achieve something on par with a Star Wars or Doctor Who or something like that, which is why one would chase something like that, which I understand. Just in hard, cold business, there's money there. Primarily because not just because of the show and the ratings and whatnot, but also the merchandise and everything else that can bankroll a lot of this stuff. But when you deliberately destroy everything it was, you defeat the entire purpose of what you did it in the first place.
There is no, like you were saying about you're chasing the dream of a bigger franchise and their success. You should be.
Yeah. And
there's ways to work that into other franchises if they're willing to take a chance and go, hey, what if we did a story where they ran into a character who kind of represents this? I'm not going to say like new, like it never existed before, but as far as mainstream recognition, the trans stuff has been more up there in the last 5 years, say, right? So it's like, say, this is a new demographic that's really emerging. And what if we did a story that involved a character who is this and the doctor comes in and this stuff here? You're not changing the core structure of the program. You're not changing, like the doctor may have been closed-minded on something, but then evolves. That's a fine story. Or the doctor convinces somebody else that was closed-minded and they evolve and they're like more accepting and everything. Fine too. No one has a problem with that. When you go, well, the doctor's not trans enough. Wait, what? The doctor was not. Well, no, he should be now. Actually, you know what? We're gonna not only that, we're gonna change him this, and this. And if you would have had like Jodie got a bad rap for what she did.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna bring in the first black doctor. There were talks about
second,
Idris
really,
Elba
but-
wanted to be James Bond, and then it came around. It's like that would be kind of cool. He's too old to do that, but it's kind of cool. You're never too old or too young to play the doctor if you can do it right.
Right.
So if you were to brought in, say, Idris Elba or somebody, another good actor,
to play the
there,
to play
be the doctor, you'd be like, oh, well, I know people would be like, why is there a black guy doing this? But then you would eventually see, like, no, he's good. He's good. He's crotchety. He's got a lot of the traits. He's got some new stuff in there.
Yeah.
This works. People would have been more accepting to it. You have to ease into things. You can't just say, well, we're tired of easing into things. We're going to wash the entire thing, and we're going to put a new coat of paint on it, and this is what it's going to be going forward.
Yeah.
Well, the audience isn't that accepting. You know, it takes time to, and they admitted it at the beginning.
Yes.
It's like, we got to start working these things in so younger people can feel safe and younger people can feel represented. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
If that's what you're going for, that's fine. You can't just go, surprise, it's all this now. And then everyone goes, yeah, they get up and they leave the theater. And then the actors are yelling on the stage for the people leaving. Where the fuck are you going, you bigot? Your show sucks. Why am I paying for this? I'm not.
Right.
I want to leave. I'm not staying here.
They continually believe they can shame people into the seats. They've been doing that since Ghostbusters 2016. It doesn't.
yeah.
It
Leslie
does
Jones.
not work.
White guys ruined this movie. They we were supposed to have another one and all that stuff, but white guys were out there and they were shitting all over this thing. It's like, no, it wasn't just white guys. It was almost everybody was saying this was a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know, there could have been a time for a female Ghostbusters team.
Had they done it right with a handoff and not just all female, you know,
even if you did an all female, who
know,
cares? Like, if you did it in the right way. I heard rumblings when they were looking to bring Ghostbusters back. At one point, as much as I don't enjoy him now, but I did at the time, Seth Rogen, right? Had I guess some kind of mock script or something for a new Ghostbusters. I think he might have been writing it with Jonah Hill or Evan, his partner.
Yeah.
But the concept, I believe, was supposed to be that they were a team of Ghostbusters. The originals still exist, but they were a team of Ghostbusters in a different location.
Right.
Like, I don't know if they were uptown New York while the originals are downtown. Like, they were up in Harlem and all the way that area of Manhattan that people forget exists.
So they franchised the business of
200s.
ghostbusting. And
Yeah, they're there, or maybe they're in Miami, or maybe they're in L.A. Like, L.A. would be the next city to be in because there's a lot of stuff there. Haunted Hollywood, all of those kind of things would be great. That makes sense to have franchise, or like they're expanding and now there's their Ghostbusters office in another place. That would have been acceptable if one of the teams was an all-female team. Say they were down in Philadelphia or they were somewhere else. It's like, these are the girls that are doing all that stuff. Oh, really? Like, they'd make some jokes, but then you'd see them kicking ass, and everyone would be okay with it because it was introduced and evolved in the right way with telling the story. Yeah. When you're trying to just like, oh, guys like this, and this is what it originally was, rip the poster down, put the new poster up, and that's how it's going to be from now. Yeah, I'm not paying to go see that movie. Well, you're a fucking racist. You're a homophobe. The problem is with you. No, you don't get to yell at me and demand my money and tell me that I'm doing everything wrong and shit on me and I'm supposed to pay you for it. You know, unless you're into that thing, you're not supposed to pay for that. And then I walked away from this movie. There's ways to do these things, or just try to build your own thing and let that be successful. Nobody wants to build anything anymore.
No.
They want to license other things or reboot other things instead of taking chances and building their own. Well, what if nobody likes it? Well, then nobody likes it. But what if they do? Then you're printing your own money.
There's
'cause
always
you just
a
created
risk.
a new IP that didn't exist before.
Yeah. It's just, so yeah, they don't care enough about the property to and do the actual work. And a lot of people who were talented and skilled got Me Too'd away. Stuff like that would happen in the gamesmanship that all the went. But if the opportunity for Jodie's doctor, I thought they should have kept Bill on, especially after what happened to her becoming a Cyberman. And it would have been this interesting juxtaposition between the two, because the doctor becomes what Bill wants to be again.
Right.
And they're both
or what if they
struggling
just
with
had
their
her
new
head,
forms.
her Cyberman head, like Matt Smith had the one. He had
I know. I wish they'd have made a whole series of that.
So he's just carrying the Cyberman head around like a lantern, and it's talking to him,
Yeah.
or her at that time. Yeah, it would have been fun.
And also, you're talking about they could have had a trans character introduced in it, and it would have been interesting. Oh, here's the doctor upset that he's a woman, and yet you have a trans. Well, you're doing what I wish I could really do.
Yeah.
Things like that, just
that's too on the nose. You can't just do that.
On the nose. My God. Now you have it full in your face.
Well, I know, but that would be what they said if you pitched that to them. No, that's too obvious. That's too on the no. Everything else has been too obvious. This is actually kind of subtle compared.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we call a callback to a thing we did 3 doctors ago.
Yeah.
People would like to see something like this, and when you tie in your thing with this, no. We got to redo all of that. Can we get another midget? What? No, I'm out. Sorry, I quit. I'm gonna go find another job somewhere else.
Well, that'll be the next doctor.
The views and opinions expressed during the Mr. Nailsin show do not necessarily reflect those held by RadioMisfits.com. So, any complaints and or comments should be sent to @Mr. Nailsin on Twitter, where they will be promptly ignored and or blocked.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.